How is the arts impacting your life? You may not realize that, especially if you're spending less time out in the world, how important they are in your life. There are performing arts, there are creative arts, and there are healing arts. And today on Women Speakers Association's WSA TV Women Premier Show, we have experts who are going to share their wisdom about how you can use the arts in your life right now and how they're helping you impact your life. So let's dive in and say hello to our experts today. Let's talk to Lisa first. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Laura. I'm Lisa Nilsson. I am a makeup artist, esthetician, and a speaker and coach in confidence. And I am talking to you from Idaho Falls, Idaho.
Great to have you. Thanks for being here. And hi, Maxine.
Hi, Laura. I'm Maxine Shapiro. I'm a speaker, facilitator, and coach. You can find me at maxineShapiro.com, and I'm living in beautiful LA.
Awesome. Great to have you. And hi, Marina.
Hello, Laura. My name is Marina Landa. I am Reiki master and teacher, certified aromatherapist, and published author. And you can find me at searchchange.com. And I live in Cary, North Carolina.
Great. So we're coming to you from all parts here, and we have all kinds of art to talk to you about. So Lisa, I wanted to ask you first. I know you are involved in different kind of creative arts, and how can art be used for confidence and emotional well-being? Do you have any advice for our viewers?
Of course, yeah. So, gosh, so many ways. It's all about self-awareness and also expression. And I would say also there's a great deal of hopelessness and suffering in things like, toxic relationships, dysfunctional behavior. I myself have survived a 12-year battle with an eating disorder and severe depression when I was younger. And what really worked for me is in being able to let those, finding ways alternative to self-harm or addictive type behavior, to let those feelings be expressed in a creative medium that was more healthy. And whether the outcome of that is beautiful or gorgeous or a beautiful piece of art to hang on the wall, I think it's important not to qualify the art expression, but to just let it be that form of expression. And that's going to be different for different people. My art mediums may not work for Maxine or somebody else, but just giving yourself permission to express and to add this in addition to maybe traditional therapy, working with a therapist. Art therapy is really something that everyone can explore.
Wow. And is there what is your art medium that you use?
Gosh, I love to write, but being a makeup artist for 20 plus years, that's probably one of my main ones. I always tell my clients beauty brings us together, but that beauty needs to look particular to the individual. And so there's lots of ways to express. I also love to paint and draw, so a little bit of several things, but I have a dear friend, she crochets, and that's her art medium. And that's beautiful because it's about giving yourself permission to have a creative outlet and learn to cope with stress and things like that.
Oh, yes. And that is the magic and power of the creative arts. So thank you for sharing those different ideas and ways and inspiration to do so. I wanted to go over to Maxine. I know you work in the performing arts and you work with teams and communications. How is that art form beneficial for people in their work life?
Oh, what a great question, Laura. And, I want to applaud what Lisa's doing because it's very, very similar in the outcome. And what I do is I take the application of improvisation. So this isn't, whose line is it anyway, or I got to be funny, but this is just that spontaneous play that allows for people to have that self-expression without overthinking it. Because so much of that editing happens up here. Yes, we've been shut down a lot of our lives by people who meant well and some who didn't mean so well, but it doesn't matter. It's what goes up here that we stop. We just stop that creative process. And when people are allowed, and I give them this trusting, comfortable place to start relying on their own gifts, they are amazed at what comes out of their mouth. So there's no judgment. one of the main components of improvisation is yes and so we just learn to agree with what's in front of us. So when we start doing that, it's not about, oh my God, I got to be bigger, I got to, be more confident. It just comes from the act of doing this spontaneous play, if I may put it that way. So as far as teams go, it's all about that collaboration, how they're listening, how they're responding, to make it fun, to make it interesting, and to come up with ideas that they never thought they could, which just delights the heck out of me.
Ah,
And
and
them too.
exactly. And that is the magic and power of the arts in the workplace to allow people to, what you said, play and come from that yes and place to expand the conversation instead of shutting down. And we're all about expansion. And let's now turn to Marina and expanding our health through the healing arts. How do people do that? Do you have any advice for people?
Yes, people need to understand that we are amazing picture. Each of us is a unique picture. And because we're stressed so much, because the life is so unpredictable, people start closing down. They're afraid to show these colors to the world, and they become black and white picture. And the art of healing, the art of aromatherapy, the art of Reiki, the art of meditation helps to bring these colors back into the human, back into the person. And as we start lighting with different colors, we become so beautiful that we succeed in anything.
And is there
So
one, I love that. Is there one modality that somebody could do right now, or something they could do right now to bring out that color?
yes, in Ayurveda, we recognize toxic emotion. Toxic emotion, it's an emotion that you experience and you're afraid of, or you think it's a shameful emotion. Anger, for example. When we recognize that anger is just a powerful tool that helps us to change the world around us in a very compassionate way, when we accept this, when we accept any emotion is just immune response of our being to the universe around us. When we accept this emotion, when we accept these energies, we make the right choices. We make the choices that are less stressful to us and others. So when you experience the emotion and you're like, I'm a very nice girl, I cannot freak out, I cannot be angry. Take a deep breath and say, well, this is just the emotion. This is just my response. Let me see how my body can use this energy in the compassionate way and how I can change the world of my world and the world of other to the better.
So beautiful, like the three of
Thank
you.
you.
And I love the color, bringing out your own personal color through compassion for yourself, and Maxine, you were talking, being open to the yes and Lisa, to being open to having art in your life and using it, whether it comes out in a way anybody would consider like masterpieces, not the point. It's about bringing more vitality, reducing stress, and bringing health into your life and workability into your work life. So, wow, you three ladies are chock full of wisdom. I want to learn a little bit more about you and your expertise. So tell us about, who do you work with and what do you do with them? And Lisa, why don't you start?
Great question. So the body of my work has been mostly with teenage girls, typically between the ages of 12 and 18. As I'm getting older myself, I'm finding that a lot of more mature women have never really given themselves permission to artistically express. We are providers, we are mothers, we are trying to keep our households running fluidly. And so it becomes very difficult to wear these many different hats and roles. I think that having a creative modality, whatever that looks like for you, is essential to survival. And it's not just for chemically dependent people or people that have struggled with eating disorders or self-harm behaviors. It's really about finding something that speaks to you. And if you think about when you were a little girl or a little boy and what you enjoyed creatively, and what you felt was your natural tendency, what you were sort of drawn to naturally. I think that it's important to revisit that and to get re-excited about maybe something that you really enjoyed before. And maybe you put it on a shelf and told yourself, no, I'm an adult now, I don't have time. We've got to carve out that time, and you'll find that your relationships are so much more balanced and you feel so much more at peace. We know that engaging in art actually activates different parts of the brain and helps people to feel an emotional release and sense of calm that they can't get anywhere else. And I don't know about you, but I'm all about the calm these days.
I think we have to be about the calm now. We're being called to especially if you're a healer or you have a message, to be that leader. We have to have these ways of calming ourselves and also collaborating better. So Maxine, tell us a little bit about you. Who do you work with and what do you do with them?
Yeah, thank you. Lisa, that was great. I just want to say that it's the calming, and there's also the need for the release, which is what I do, is come in and just do this kind of, as you talked about, childhood play. And but I don't know if I want to be silly. So if I may share, any place from the Federal Reserve System to startups, from Papyrus to, Zappo trainers and anything in between, cargo to retail, I've worked with. And I like to say I work/play with. And it is, they say Plato said this, you can learn more about a man, we'll say man, person. You can learn more about a man in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. So right now we're being asked to let's just go to grassroots and meet each other. And if I had to pick that one place that still warms my heart more than any place, and there's been many of them, it was with the Federal Reserve System, where all 12 banks had their executives, all their top executives, their VPs. There were 250 of them, and to watch them improvise with each other, and I'm talking play, and afterwards they were like little kids, can we tell you what we did? And then I debrief it. It's not just play for play, although that's a great outlet, but what we do is we try to connect the dots. Then how does this relate to your work situation? And like the aha moments and the of course, and it makes for a very, very rich discussion afterwards, and some changes because they've experienced this. All of us, none of us do this by PowerPoint or let me throw 20 pages and fill it out, which are great books. And this is the experience. We're all asking for everybody to experience, because that's what the arts are. You even when you're looking at a painting, it's an experience. I just got goosebumps. I come from Chicago, where they had great, the Art Institute. I loved it. So thank you. Thank you for that thoughtful question.
Yeah, and thank you for the story as well. And I realized, Lisa, did you have a story you wanted to share?
Yeah, there's been a couple. There's been so many amazing, particularly like the youth that I've worked with, that have really touched my heart, because I've seen, just in facilitating time with them and teaching them some different ways to express as an alternative to, like, there was one individual who was a cutter, and she had struggled with that particular situation for some time, and her parents were just at a loss. Now, as a mentor, and I want to preface that I am not an art therapist. I have a background in psychology, but my position just comes from more of a mentorship and someone that these girls can look up to, essentially. So what I would do is just teach them creatively. Here's a different art medium. Here's something that you could try. And as I saw them, trying different things and just giving, and it takes time, ladies, like it takes time to figure out what your art medium is. And then sometimes you want to add to that or switch it up. So, and that's perfectly fine too. But just watching a few of these girls grow and become more confident and sort of step into their voice. And then as their patterns were replaced with more positive actions, just really seeing them own their bodies and show up in life more, in school, socially, just feeling better. There's nothing more fulfilling for me as an individual, but than to see other women, regardless of their age, just heal and grow. And that's their own work, that's their own growth. But just this spreading this idea like wildfire that, art is a viable option to add to what they're doing, traditionally maybe, to help to heal and grow.
Beautiful. And speaking of healing and growing, Marina, I know you do a lot of healing work. So tell us about your expertise. Who do you work with? What do you do? And maybe if you have a story.
I do medical Reiki. My Reiki based in Ayurveda. I went to India last year to actually study more. I do clinical aromatherapy. I do meditations. And I mostly work with people who are stressed to the point of, you would not believe it. It's just they hit the wall. It's the end of the world. I would love them to come earlier to me. It will be easier to work with. But unfortunately, they think that I'm the last hope. And I just want to tell you the story. I once worked with the lady when she walked into the office. It's like a little gray mouse. She sneaked into the office. The stress of life just too much for her. This is it. She tried pills, she tried psychologists, she tried everything. And just after one session, she opened her eye and she smiled to me. And that was the most beautiful smile I ever seen in my life. She was really happy. And it's like a flower. She suddenly opened up, and this is not a mouse anymore. This is the flower, the bird. And this is the most rewarding thing in my art. Bringing these flowers, these birds, these arts, these colors back.
Beautiful. And I can tell you, Marina and Maxine and Lisa, you all are so passionate about doing what you just expressed so beautifully, Marina, is helping people to blossom in their full color. Whether they're part of an organization, they're struggling with deep stress, or they're just trying to find their way in the world, and feel like they're not alone. The magic and power of the arts is truly a transformative process. And no matter what your art form is, whether it's a creative art, or you want to seek out healing arts, or you want to do some performing arts. Thank you so much. I wanted to end the show with just hearing a little bit about the value of Women Speakers Association, because my pleasure is to bring you to our audience. And we do that with many of our premier members. So what has been the value, Lisa, of Women Speakers Association for you?
Wow, for me, I one of the core principles that I operate on is connection versus competition. As women, we're hard enough on ourselves individually. We're hard enough on each other, which I would really like to see stop. But you have to be part of that solution, and that really is on focusing on what connects us instead of what drives us apart. We really are more alike than different. And I knew I needed some mentors. I knew that I needed other strong women who were getting out there and speaking and creating change through their words, whether that was spoken or written. So I needed people to role model after. And so that's really what it's given me, is that sense of community, and that, yes, Lisa, you can do this. You have what it takes. Let's get some momentum. Let's get some tangible skills and some templates in place. So for me, as far as the speaking and everything like that, it's just given me a hope that I could actually do the things that I dream of. So I really appreciate it so much.
I love that connection versus competition. So, and for anybody who's interested in finding out more about Women Speakers Association or getting a roadmap, we have a free roadmap at speakersuccessplan.com. Just download it there and start there. If you want to learn more about the membership option, joinwsa.com is a great place. So, Maxine, tell us about your experience and the value you received from Women Speakers Association.
It's been great. I met Women's Speakers Association at a global influence summit, and I just knew Gail and you, and it was like, oh my God, I got to be with these women. And then I get to meet people like Lisa and Marina, and I can't wait to continue our relationship. And most importantly, you know, there's always something new to learn. And we all know that things are changing so quickly. And how do I stay on top of it? How do I stay on top of it? Well, you've got the resources for me to stay on top of it, period. I don't have to keep finding this out for myself and watching 8,000 other people and getting in and signing up. I've got it all here. And I'm so grateful for that. I really am.
Oh, and we're grateful for you and the resources you bring. And we grow upon our resources with every new member. And Marina, tell us about the value you experience from Women Speakers Association.
I am actually a new member. I believe this is my first month with Women Speakers Association. I was always happy where I am. I was practicing in my little office since 2007. And my clients started asking me, can you help my girlfriend? She lives in a different city. Can you help my daughter? She lives in a different country. And I started developing this program where you don't need me in person, but this is the combination of Buddhist meditation. This Buddhist meditation are very therapeutic and teachings. It's a different approach to emotions. And I had a feeling that I need to open the door and start talking about it to everyone. And you just came at the right time. I feel that Women's Speakers Association, this is this door that I'm opening and stepping out saying, listen world, this is what I do. And
That's
this is
right.
how it helps you.
Yeah, so exactly. So if you're like Marina and you have a message that you want to get out in the world, or Maxine, you've been speaking for ages and you want the resources and the latest and greatest because you're never done learning, or you're like Lisa and you want to, just get your voice out there and market more, I mean, this is the place for you. So check us out at joinwsa.com, and thank you to Marina and Maxine and Lisa, your wisdom, and thank you for the gifts that you do out in the world, and thank you for your advice here today. We'll be back next time with another episode. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.